Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stewart Andrew Alexander.
Hi, and welcome to another Let's Talk Divorce conversation. And on this segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen, I have a divorce attorney, Brad Micklin, who is the managing partner of the Micklin Law Group, LLC, all the way from Nutley in New Jersey. Now, Brad, who is considered to be somewhat of an authority in the area of family law, will be talking to you today about how to plan when divorcing a narcissist. Now, that sounds like a really interesting topic, so I can't wait to dig a little bit deeper into this. So if you are one of the many people seeking counsel in the Nutley, New Jersey area, you might just want to, give yourself a break, log out of Facebook, grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever is your favorite drink. You may even want to pick up a notepad and pen and get ready to take some notes as you listen in to what Brad has to share with us today. So, with that said, let's not keep him waiting any longer. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Thank you. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Good morning as well, Brad. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. So, let's make the best use of our time today, Brad. We've got about 15 to 20 minutes together. Briefly, in your own words, describe the kinds of people who you serve and the various types of situations they find themselves in when they come to you for your help.
Well, we serve all kinds of individuals in New Jersey in basic divorce and family law cases, but the main area, one of the main areas of our focus, is helping individuals who are married to or involved with a narcissist, meaning a person with like a borderline personality disorder that has a very aggressive, very dominating approach to both life and litigation. So the most common types of situations that the clients that we serve find themselves in are usually on the bad end of a very ugly divorce, which I know a lot of people think most divorces are ugly, but truthfully they're not. Mm-hmm. But if you're involved with a narcissist, it can be one of the most egregious, difficult divorces you can experience.
I can only begin to imagine, and this is a really interesting topic today. But before we go any further then, Brad, let's just take a moment to let everybody know that anything you share with us today is not legal advice or legal assistance. It's purely for the purpose of disseminating information. Can we both agree on that then, Brad?
Yes, absolutely. Well said.
Okay, so again, thinking about those people who come to you seeking counsel, what's the most common misconception you come across while you're out there helping those people?
I think the most common misconception a lot of clients have, at least in the beginning of their case, is that they either know how to handle it or what to expect. Mm-hmm.
So let's expand on that then a little bit then, Brad. And obviously keeping your client's confidentiality in mind, please share an example of, or even a case study, so to speak, of how you've helped somebody, or even how you would go about helping somebody who came to you with those challenges, that misconception you just described, and what kind of transformational results you were able to or would be able to gain for them.
Certainly. And the most common situation is a client will come to me with a spouse, a parent of the other parent, having filed something against them that was so outlandish and egregious that it would almost be unbelievable to a reasonable person, usually around the area of custody and parenting time, because that's where they can really exert the most control and domination. So the client will come with this outlandish allegation against them and generally believe that if they just go into court and explain that the spouse is lying or it's not true, that they're going to be believed because the story is just so outlandish. And what we normally do is convince the client that they need to take just the opposite approach, because in my experience, surprisingly, family court judges will often believe the first person who speaks and act as if everybody's telling the truth. And more often than not, it's not. It's such an egregious aberration that we need to have the client prepared to face that and try to turn it around by having witnesses in advance, by preparing documents that prove when you go in that it is inaccurate and a complete aberration of the truth.
So, as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is divorce attorney Brad Micklin, managing partner of the Micklin Law Group LLC in Nutley, New Jersey. And today's topic is how to plan when divorcing a narcissist. Now, with that in mind, Brad, and for those people out there who are seeking counsel and they're listening now and wanting to know more, please share one common, and I know there's going to be so many of them, but just please share one common but unknown pitfall that you'd like to highlight today.
Well, ironically, the main pitfall that I see people making or falling into is working with professionals that don't understand the mentality. And I don't mean just finding a lawyer who understands what it's like to deal with a narcissist, which is very important, but also finding other individuals, therapists, counselors, expert witnesses, people that will be familiar with the mindset of a narcissist, because without that, most of your experts and your assistants are going to be a little of, if no benefit to you in litigation.
Right, so let me ask you this then, Brad. It's illegal for you to represent both parties, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Correct.
Right, so when I think about this, the real problem, the root of the problem is the narcissist themselves, right? Right. So, but you're representing the other partner who's the victim of the narcissist in most cases. Is that correct?
Most of the time. I mean, once in a while I'll get a client who I can recognize has narcissistic tendencies, but more often than not, the spouse is coming to me for a type of defense to it.
Right. So you obviously can't represent the narcissist, but if that's the root of the problem, is there anything that you can do to actually deal with the actual root, with that narcissist themselves, just to make the whole situation easier for both parties?
Sometimes, depending on the nature of the issue, if you're able to get either an agreement or a court order for a psychological evaluation, the evaluation and the evaluator may not identify the term or identify by a term, but at least may be able to identify personality conflicts or traits that create conflicts. And from there, the courts are able to start addressing it because you have an independent assessment indicating that these issues are present.
You've got me really curious at this point, then, Brad. How many years have you been a practicing divorce attorney?
I've been a divorce attorney for 21 years.
Wow. So 2 decades. I can only imagine that you've helped hundreds of people in those 21 years.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So when you think about all of those people who reached out to you for your help, for your assistance, what's most important to you about being able to help those clients to achieve their objectives?
Well, what's most important for me is to know that the client is prepared and prepared well in advance. So what I generally tell my clients when they have this type of issue is to plan for the worst. Plan for the worst allegations to be made, plan for the worst statements to be made, and knowing that, find people that are going to be able to testify for you, talk to experts that are going to be able to assist you, maybe even get a therapist to assist themselves as they go through, because it could be a very traumatic course if they're not prepared.
Right. So if you have a client and they're really listening to you, everything is working just as how you would expect it to be, how does that actually make you feel on a personal level?
Well, I mean, I really enjoy what I do, and having an opportunity to help individuals in these circumstances is really rewarding, because I've found in the longer that I do this work and the more I get exposed for my experience in it, that so many people are unable to get help because so few really understand the nature of these individuals, that I truly get to make a difference in what is and would otherwise be a very bad situation for my clients.
So let's spend a brief moment talking about your background then, Brad. Please share with us your formal education and your experience as it relates to today's topic of family law, please.
Okay, well, I have a classic education, so I went to undergraduate college at Temple University in Philadelphia. Then I went from there to law school at Widener University in Delaware and graduated there, I think, 96. Following my law school, I sat for and passed the New Jersey and Pennsylvania state bars, both state and federal. I did a year-long clerkship in the Superior Court of New Jersey for the supervising judge of special civil litigation for the first year. I did some commercial litigation after that for about 2 years, And then I opened my own practice and went to concentrate in divorce, family, and custody. And throughout the course of that, I've always had a certain interest in the borderline personality disorders and the issues that it brings to matrimonial and family law. So I've spent a lot of years just reading the materials, interviewing people, making notes about the situations I've been in, case reviews, and really trying to just gain an understanding of what the personality is like and using just personal experience to be able to help more and more people as it went along.
So, Brad, how do you recognize that you're married to a narcissist? What are some of the signs?
Well, and it can be challenging because a lot of times they're married for a long time, so you overlook the signs. The first sign is going to be a person whose self-image is the most important thing to them. So they can never accept fault. If you say anything about them negatively or challenge them in any way, they react violently, for lack of better words, not necessarily physically, but vehemently. So they'll do anything to protect their self-image. Aside from that, they're often very charismatic and successful. Mm-hmm. The irony of the personality conflict is outwardly they're credible people. They're charismatic and they're successful. So the dichotomy that a client usually has or faces is trying to explain to the larger society that his or her spouse is really not the way he or she appears.
So we are approaching the end of the show then, Brad. So for those people who are out there and listening and they're still wanting to know a little bit more about how to plan when divorcing a narcissist, what final thoughts would you like to impart with them before we finish up with our last question for today?
Well, again, as I said earlier, I think the most important way to handle the case is to be prepared. And not just to be prepared in the way I earlier said about getting documents, but being prepared for dealing with the personality type. Because there's two ways to address that. As I said a moment ago, they'll do anything to preserve their self-image. Mm. So you need to choose when you're going into this case, are you going to be attacking their position and expecting a battle in return, or are you going to try to placate their position so that they believe that you're on their side? And you sort of need to choose one way or the other because you can't change once you start that direction.
Well, this has been a very interesting conversation, Brad. So for the listener who's listening right now and they feel that they may just be, married to a narcissist and they're considering divorce or they're in the midst of divorce or even gone through divorce, if that's the case, how can they reach you? What's the easiest way?
Well, I think the best way is really to start at our website, which is McLeanLawGroup.com, which is MICKLIN, lawgroup.com, all one word. Our website's really the most informative aspect. We have webinar archive pages, we have video consultation rooms, and PDF downloads, all dealing with divorcing a narcissist. And we don't require any kind of email address or any form that you fill out. It's simply free for download. So I always recommend people start there first, and then they're always free to call me with the number on the website.
Okay, folks, that's all we have time for today. Again, that was divorce attorney Brad Micklin. Thank you so much for sharing so generously with us today, Brad. You have certainly demonstrated that you are a true educator and advocate for your client's success. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome, Brad. And I'd also like to take a moment to say a big thank you to you, the listener. Thank you for joining us on this very insightful and informative conversation. We've had a really interesting topic today. We've never spoke about this on Impact Makers Radio before. But thank you for joining us with one of the leading divorce attorneys in the Nutley, New Jersey area today. Again, as a reminder, his name is Brad Micklin. Make sure you do check him out, give him a call, visit his website. It sounds like they have some fantastic resources there, so do spend some time on the website researching your topic. But whatever you do decide to do, I'm sure that after listening to Brad today, you're going to be in a good place to get started. So that's it for today, folks. Again, my name is Stewart Andrew Alexander, and we'll be back shortly with some more leading family law professionals in this, our series of Let's Talk Divorce Conversations. So, until then, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.